here at Twin Horsepower, and today I am here to talk all about blanketing horses. So I just have some general things that I wanted to discuss about blanketing your horse. And the first is, do you even need to blanket a horse? First answer to that, and to most of these questions that I'm going to discuss, is that depends, because there's a lot that could depend and vary. But in general, most horses don't need a blanket because the way God made them is in the winter, their bodies store up more fat and they grow thicker coat. They have their hair coat, it grows thick and long. A lot of that depends on the breed. Some grow thicker, like a miniature fjord or a draft versus a thoroughbred. A lot of that also depends on if they've been blanketed before versus not. And that'll have to do with their coat, whether it grows longer, thicker, or not. Some people clip their horses. For instance, if they have a show horse or something, their horse will be clipped through the winter. And in those cases, you do want a blanket because that's kind of taking a lot of what the horse has to keep them warm. The way that the horse's coats are made, they can handle the coldest days. The way God made them is their body knows how to accommodate that and keep themselves warm. And actually, I think horses can handle cold much better than hot, just in my opinion. I think it's much easier, and there's so much more that their body can do to adjust to that to keep themselves warm. The next question, do you need to blanket your horse? You can kind of go off a little bit from the first question because it'll depend on the horse, where you are, how cold it is. Overall, most people start blanketing their horse once it hits 40s, like with just a light sheet or something. That's up to you because it'll depend. Another thing to keep in mind is if you have a skinny horse. A lot of times older horses won't be able to maintain weight if they have health issues, or if you have a rescue that's skinny, just something like that, where your horse is skinny, they don't have that fat to help to be there, keep them warm, even if they have a coat. Those would be times when it's good to put a blanket on them, just to kind of help them out a little bit. That way they're burning less fat to keep themselves warm. So an old horse, a clipped horse, yeah, put a sheet on them once it hits 40s, and then you can put heavier blankets as it gets colder. The horses who do have a coat, I'm not gonna say there's one answer or not. That's kind of up to you. Just be sure that your horse isn't too warm. Which brings us to our next question. How do you tell if your horse is too warm or too cold? So generally, you can do a quick check under their blanket and feel kind of on their shoulders or around their chest. Feel the temperature of that, and that will give you a good gauge on the temperature of your horse. The next question is, how do you know what size blanket to get for your horse? So this one's pretty easy. You just get either a measuring tape or a string, and you start at the center of the horse's chest and bring it alongside of them all the way back to the middle of their tail, being sure that you are going over the broadest part of their shoulder so we get the proper measurement and not too small. And measure it that way, you'll get the proper sizing, and any blanket you buy will have the sizing and the inches on there. So pretty simple and easy. Style of blanket, of what kind, that is completely up to you. Again, depending on what kind of blanket you need. Some horses are the kind who do not keep blankets on. Others are good about it. Some just always rip them. And also what weight would be best too. Sometimes you need to get a few, like a lighter one and then a heavy one, so you can swap them. Up to you. I personally just have one weight of a blanket because my horse is not a show horse. Don't clip her or anything. She's a good weight. I just kind of want to help her out a little bit with an extra blanket, and it's about regular. It's not heavy, but it's not light either. So I just also like it because it's waterproof, so when they get wet, where my horses are, we don't have as much of a shelter. They just have a little one where we moved them to. They used to at the other place, but now since we've moved, we don't have that. So taking that into consideration, it's just those kinds of things that you can do on your own research or whatever, and just kind of figuring out what's best for you and your horse, where your horse is at, where you live, what your horse needs, filling your horse's needs, really, because every horse and owner is different. So I'm not just gonna sit here and say that there's one way to do everything, because that is not true. If you have any more questions about blanketing your horses, feel free to just leave a comment and I will answer it to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to. And as always, we will see you in the next video.